Okay, so around, this had to be April or May of last year. You gave us a call. It was a great call. You invited us to Croatia to come on a boat for a week.
Correct.
Now, you could have invited anybody. Why us?
Easy. You guys have such a good energy. I feel like it's so important to make the best of any given moment in life. And I try to spend my time with individuals who are inspiring, who are motivated, and who just cherish life. So when I pictured that boat and the setting, I was like, these guys would have so much fun with this setup here. And on top of that, when you stay on a yacht, it is such an interactive thing where you get to spend a lot of time with the people that you're hanging out with. Even though this yacht is massive, you get to see each other at the breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's just a cool way to bond with individuals. And I figured you guys would be a perfect match.
So my question is, what did we miss? Because we obviously missed. Every time you invite us somewhere, we're out of town. Every single time.
Can we get the clarity out of the way?
Yeah. No. We were going to go. We were going to go, but we were literally about to head to Bali. And I was like, Enes, come on.
Next time we'll get it.
So yeah, I mean, what happened? How was that trip?
It was actually great. It was a really unique concept. So where we're going with the channel, obviously we're focusing on diversifying the assets that we tour. And we've gone into the yachting world almost about 3 years ago. And yachting can go either, a yacht that's for sale, which generally we focus on touring the yacht and showcasing its specifications. But yachting is so much more than that. Yachting is an experience, spending time on the water. So we started getting invited to these charter experiences. Most of these yachts are available for charter, which means you can rent them for a week. These yachts come with their own crew, and it's a very curated experience. And each yacht is like a mini hotel. Some of them are famous for their culinary experiences. Some of them are famous for going to really unique locations. So what made the yacht in Croatia so unique is the fact that it has more cabins than usual yachts, which means you can lower the cost significantly per person. Croatia is beautiful, and it was almost like a economical way for people to get a very luxurious experience. And it was actually a lot of fun. We ended up inviting Shelby Church, Grant Stephan, and his right-hand man, Jack, and Graham's fiance to the trip with us. And it was actually a lot of fun. How do you not enjoy your time when you're on the water and you just look out the window and all you see is beautiful coastline?
You're in a foreign country. We were like, Enes, no.
I'm sure you guys had a good time.
No, of course. No, we had a really good time. Yeah, that was a phenomenal time.
But I wanted to go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you guys are still on my list. It's not like you guys will get the call.
We got the bat line ready. We're like, all right, in his call, we know it's time.
Well, I wanted to go back because a lot of 2021 you did our Boss Talk podcast.
Yes.
So that was a while ago.
3 years.
3 years ago. It's crazy. Man, you guys didn't age at all.
Just water, man. Water and lotion. That's it.
One of the main things we learned about you is that you love progress and that you're not scared of the work. So back then, you were under 1 million subscribers. You were still trying to figure it out. Now you're dominating your niche. You have over 3 million subscribers. So what have you learned in those 3 years through that progress?
A lot. I feel like I can write a book on those 3-4 years. Just so much, which is why I think what we get to do and the media world is so exciting. There's so much to be learned. And it's like, I look at some of our videos that we produced 3 months ago. I'm like, we learned so much since then too. It's constantly evolving. And I think partly it's because we're in a media space and we're a very progressive company and we're ambitious. But on top of that, we get to interact with a type of audience, and I say that not from a viewer perspective, but the people that we get to work with, the companies, developers, homeowners, you name it, whatever you want to call. every single one of these individuals are like a little book that you can learn so much from. It's like one of them co-founded this company. One of them has one of the biggest real estate portfolios on the other side of the world. One of them is this founder of this unique product, and he has an amazing story. And before you know, I find myself, you know, on the other side of the world at a dinner at 8:30 p.m. and getting or hearing this incredible story from this homeowner. I'm like, how would I be in a situation besides this job that I would have gotten this intimate experience? Impossible. This is why I genuinely think I have the coolest job in the world.
Absolutely.
In a sense that every morning I wake up and I get to experience a really unique surprise, or I get to meet someone new and I genuinely don't know. And I think it's awesome that it just comes my way. And in regards to what we learned, honing in your focus is extremely important. I think going that extra mile in regards to your craft, and even paying attention to tiny little aspect of it, these things all stack up. And before you know, you look back and you're like, where's the competition? Yeah. You've gone so far in your mind, you're making these incremental improvements. But in reality, you're stacking brick over a brick. And before you know, it's a giant wall. You're on top of it. All you're seeing is the last 2 feet. You're like, we're not making that much progress. Then you look back, people are like, you guys are on the mountain. We can't even relate anymore. And last bit, I would say that one of the biggest lessons I learned is maybe, I don't want to just say business in general, but business and how things are conducted in US. No matter who you are, what you do, and truth be told, what kind of intentions you have, you run into really difficult and challenging situations. Yeah. And I wish some of these challenging situations, you know, were not as difficult as they were. And you just got to endure the pain. You just got to wake up in the morning and you got to make progress. Absolutely. You got to make progress.
Two things that you said. One was about you get to meet so many different people, different walks of life. Because sometimes what I would do when I first moved here, I would go to the hills and I would like look off and be like, what does that person in that house do? What does that person in that house do? Because obviously they did something, hopefully legally, to get these.
Some of them were smugglers.
Some of them might have been smugglers. but it's so cool because you get to see everybody's individual community. Me and Cam talk about all the time. You walk past that one person on the street and it's like, they're in your universe now for a second. And then you may never see them again.
Isn't that crazy?
But you get to touch them in a way that it's like, oh man, he showed me this house. I learned something new, and community is something that we've learned along the way in this past year. That's like a big thing, and your network is just expanding because of it. So I think that's cool. And then when you said about the incremental success, I just read a book called Slight Edge, and it was like doing the things that you think don't matter is the number one thing that's going to get you to where success is. And I think you guys do that a lot. You guys do that a lot, yeah.
Beautiful about how you set that up. I want to go to Texas, back to Texas right quick, because based on what he said, you don't skip steps. You will actually add steps. Like most people look for shortcuts. You don't look for that. Like when you were saying that when you was working with contractors, you were the owner, but you were doing the work with them that they would come in and ask, who's the owner? And it's you. Yeah. So I wanted to ask, how did that aid you? Like that mindset and being, you know, in the grind with the people and everything.
I think in a weird way, that's what I enjoy the most about it. I like that I'm on the forefront of the war. Yeah. I'm carrying a leadership position, but I'm right in the center of the battlefield as well. And I think I really enjoy that. I think a lot of people, as their company grows, they have to make a decision whether they're on the front line or they're on the back line managing. And a lot of people end up taking the CEO role. And they should. They know their company the best. But for me, there's something beautiful about being able to participate in that part of my business, but being at the shoot. 10:30, camera is looking right at me. I have all these notes running 200 miles an hour in my head.
That's a lot. It's a lot of
it's like it's a property that was built in 1899. We're 30 minutes outside of Paris. It's like marble walls are over 100 years old. There's sculptures, there's character. I can just hear classical music playing in the room. even though it doesn't. And I'm like, it's just like a little matrix moment of like, whew, right now, world can fall apart. All that matters is me, the cameraman, and we're gonna tour this thing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let people feel like they're right here with us, because this is a special moment that needs to be appreciated, needs to be enjoyed, needs to be admired. And then being able to do that, and at 9 p.m., being in communication with the team in LA, how's business going? How are some of the stuff that we're working on? Yeah. How can I contribute? Yeah. And running between back and forth in that mindset is very challenging, but it's my drug. I love it, and I love that I get to participate in a team that is so progressive, so excited to do what they're doing, and it's just amazing to be able to move multiple different zones within the war, and we're just constantly making progress. Yeah. And I think I'm addicted to that. Like, if that answers the question.
You're like a coach. Like coaches they step back, look at everything, you know, make sure that this player goes here, this player goes. That's why Phil Jackson was so good. He knew exactly what Rodman needed. He knew exactly what Jordan needed. He knew what everybody needed. I'm sure you're the same way with your team. You know how they act in different situations, how to talk to them, different emotions. So that's a strong skill to have.
Two things allow you to operate at this kind of sickening level. Number one, yeah, it's because it's very taxing on the mind. I give this analogy. It's like a camera lens with a zoom effect. You want to be able to punch in and see the stitching on the corner of that coffee table right there, how it's precisely layered into the leather, but then be able to zoom right back and observe the entire room. Every single camera, the individuals, the details, the feel, how the air just flows into the space, right? This is something you learn over time, being able to focus right there and be able to pull back. And it essentially comes down to really paying attention to what you do. Mm-hmm. Providing the ultimate focus to the given task that you're doing, where nothing else matters. So one of the ways I really focus on prioritizing my time is, if I am here doing this podcast, nothing else matters. I don't check my phone. I don't think about anything else. In this given moment, this is the only thing that matters, and I'm gonna give my 100% to this. But it's the same thing when I do my meetings, when I write my notes for the shoot. That way you build this culture of respect and focus all around. Yeah. Now, when you go to a meeting, your employees see that how much you're prepared, they go, oh wow, I gotta come into this really prepared. Yeah. When we go to a shoot and they realize how focused you are, and only thing you care about is everything going well, everybody operating well, they go, I should just focus on my shots. And I think that kind of vibrant attitude and the way of doing business reflects to everything we do. And I think that's why our products, our videos turn out the way they turn out.
Absolutely.
I love how you said that, because I think that's the main reason you always sold the highest house price on the block back in Texas amongst all the other listings. But I heard something about a little hack that you found with Lowe's and the appliances.
Yeah.
So I want you to elaborate on that story, because I thought that was phenomenal, and how being meticulous to details were to your advantage.
Wow. Where did you hear this story?
We'll talk about that.
I love it. I love it. Okay. I love this. I'm like, what else they got now?
We're just here talking.
I love it. You know, I really appreciate you bringing this up. And it's funny. I'm doing the exact same thing with my current business right now, which is I learned something and I learned how to do it. And from there, I start putting every aspect of that business under a microscope to see how I can perfect. Let's just say you're laying a brick wall. I'm trying to see how I can get every single grout line to be perfect. So when I was flipping homes, I was like, okay, look, craftsmanship is important. I am on the job site every single day. I have a good understanding what needs to be done and how well it needs to be executed in order this home to be a good product. And then from there, how can I figure out a way to cut cost without cutting quality down? Okay. Well, planning is always a way to position yourself for a better future. So if you go to Lowe's, if you set up a commercial account with them, And if you start bundling all these products, I don't know if that's the story that you were mentioning, because there's a couple hacks.
That's the one though.
Yeah. Now you just have to build a vision where you can see the finished product, right? For example, I'll go to Lowe's. I'm like, I need this much hardwood floors. I need this much this. I need this many appliances. I need this much drywall. I would actually foresee about 70% of the materials that I would need on the job site. And I'm like, give me a bundle price. And they would run a quote, and it would be anywhere from 10% to sometimes 25% lower than the sum of the retail value. Yeah. On top of that, because you're doing it through the commercial account, they will take your returns anytime, meaning you can hold on to a product for 6 months, it stays brand new, you can bring it back, and they will just return it for you. Even better, if the order is big enough, they will do multiple shipments. So I would go, I'm ordering the floors now, I will need it in 3 months. That way, I don't have to go into the store, stack all these products up, which takes tremendous amount of time. When you're remodeling a 3,000 square foot home, imagine the amount of SKUs of items you grab. It takes half a day just to get that stuff out of Lowe's before you can even work in the house. So now all of a sudden, I created this delta that benefits my upside, or it's an opportunity for me to add more value to what I get to do. And I always bet in more value. And some could argue that at some point you got to be more fiscally oriented. I'm such a believer in doing something and doing it well. And I think on a selfish note, I just enjoy more when I'm more proud of what I do. So in many cases I go, sure, I can get away with this. I don't care. Spend $2 more grand, do this. Our guys would come, they're like, hey, this looks good, but I can spend 3 days on it and make this 5% better. 5% better.
Can you go a little bit deeper how you would find some with a dent in it, and that would give you a discount price, and you would wait for it and keep waiting until it goes down to the price you wanted if it was waited for weeks?
Exactly. I mean, so if you go to the appliance sections of these, like Home Depots, Lowe's, as soon as they receive a shipment, a bunch of things would be dented or a bunch of cabinets would be broken. So what they do is when they inventory these items, they would immediately label these and put it to the side. And if you look closely within the label, you will see when it was put on the floor with a discounted price. A lot of times, depending on the damage that these items have, they will have anywhere from 5% to sometimes 40-50% off price. And they have, depending on the store, and I think depending on the company, they have these turnaround dates. Like if it sits on the floor for 2 weeks, you get another 5% off. If it sits over 4 weeks, you get another 10%. And what I would recommend to people who are flipping homes, who are trying to make the best of every dollar they're spending, go become friends with these individuals who inventory and run these departments where you can buy these discounted products, and ask them. They will tell you. They're like, in 2 weeks, we're going to have to cut that price another 5-10%. And within the manager of that department, you also have like a 5 to 10% negotiation price. I bought $3,000-$4,000 gas stoves for like $300-$400. I bought a $5,000 John Deere zero-turn lawnmower for like $1,100 because it was dented. I'm like, you're gonna dent the lawnmower regardless. You're gonna
absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be scratched up in like 2 use. So it's all about taking advantage of any given moment. And that's what I did. And ultimately, I can either use that as an upside for my company, which gives me more opportunity down the road, or I'm like, great, I'm going to put a $500,000 home like vanity in a $150,000 home. I don't care. Let the people enjoy it. And everybody did. That's why the home sold quick. It comes back to you one way or another.
Taking advantage of any given moment, it just brings up a question, like with doing house tours and stuff like that, I'm sure there's been a moment that you've had to take advantage of, like, okay, we only got a little bit of time to get this shot, a little bit of time to do this. Is there a moment that's like that that's popped in your head that you think back and like, man, we only had a little bit of time to grab this, take advantage of that moment? What was that?
I have a perfect example. The tour of the one big house in LA. Oh, yeah. That video is, I believe, 40 minutes or 42 minutes. Has over 27 million views now. We shot that video in 3 hours.
How? That property is huge on top of a hill.
Final cut is 42 minutes. setup time. You know, like you missing your line and like figuring out it was a difficult property to walk. And it had a bunch of issues where like we had to work around the layout. Not all the rooms were completed and all that. We shot that video in 3 hours. It was our entire team. We hired like a couple more videographers to help us out. And I looked at the guys in the eye, like we planned it ahead. I'm like, when we go in here, everybody lethally focus on what you're doing. And make every minute count. And that's exactly what we did. I think it's one of the most viewed like property tours on the internet ever. And it's a great video too. And it also shows you, there's some beauty in like having pressure. There's some beauty in having a deadline. I think it's just the right balance. You don't want to have it where it breaks you, but you want to have it just enough that like there's a ticking clock. Yeah,
you want to have constraints. Those constraints make you do like the most creative things.
Find out what you made of.
Exactly. Now, so, you know, a lot of people talk about like building confidence, right? So if you could look at building confidence like the construction of a house, where would you say you had to start from?
Life is about balance. House is about a balance as well. You got to have an even, well poured concrete foundation or whatever kind of framing you're doing, and you want to have straight walls. When you run a business, when you're building something, and it doesn't matter what it is, when you're building it on a crooked foundation or uneven walls, now everybody that you bring on to work on that project has to work around these difficulties. It's like, why are you setting up a bad foundation for all these people to do work, and they can still do a great job, but it's like, why you're making their job so much more difficult? Start with straight walls, start with a good foundation, and have a good freaking plan.
Well, I got big feet, so my foundation is pretty solid. Now, speaking of foundation, though, you said one thing that I love that you said no matter what, even when the price goes up, the fundamentals of a house don't change, right? The basic fundamentals, the foundation. So for you, what fundamentals from back home did you bring here, even though your price has went up? Has it changed? Like fundamentals that you brought from back your home country here?
Like as a personality? Gotcha. A great question. It's in some capacity, I think about this every single day. We live a very interesting lives in a sense that the world we live in is so connected these days. You know, I feel like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you wouldn't know that much about what's going on in Dubai or Japan or Europe. Now with social media, news, and how we get informed on a daily basis, even though we don't travel, it's like you can just go on YouTube right now and find a video on someone walking on the streets of Paris. And like you can get a good feel, you know?
You just watch them walk.
So, but I think in that, in many ways, we are now getting this information overload, and it's hard to not consume. Like you open up your phone, Instagram. Some can look at it as a distraction, but in a way, it's an information overload. Now you're up to who's doing what, who's collaborating with who, what kind of news is happening. And it's like these apps are so intuitive and they know you so goddamn well that like they feed you with all the interesting things. You're like, tell me more. You know, now I'm getting stock update, photo of a really nice food, next house that I could possibly shoot, and a car that I want to buy, all within 10 seconds. So, and I think this is actually making a lot of people struggle with keeping a calm mind and actually being able to enjoy. And it's also making it difficult for people to kind of understand and have self-awareness of who they are. So the way I look at it, because I'm fortunate enough to receive all this information and because of my job, I get to learn a lot. I really try to take the positives out of everything I go through and every place I live. And I feel like my personality and who I became is like a house that I get to curate. But every single room, every single corner, every single accessory, even the color for each one of the accessories that I choose has a purpose. And that's who I am. So from back home, what I brought is, I'm from Turkey, which is this amazing country. And for us, trust is everything. Loyalty is everything. Friendship and caring about people is everything. And those qualities are still very much anchored right in the center of my soul. But at the same time, being in the US, being in this country over the last, since 2007, so a little over 17 years, I learned so many things. And US is all about acceptance, commerce, welcoming people, putting good ideas and good individuals together, and being ambitious and never being fearful. So I feel like I've turned into this little hybrid of a person, and I'm proud of that. It's not to say I'm ditching some parts of my culture or who I am from back home. It is just evolving. And that's exactly what I do. It's like a book that I get to write, and every day I add another page.
I love that.
I wanted to ask you, so touring these houses, you have access to some of the wealthiest people. Has that changed your view on money and like investing?
100%. I would say that's probably one of the most exciting parts. It's like I get to see these individuals in a really unique light. And let me break that a little bit. So I want you guys to really get on the wavelength of like how I want to tell this story. It's like, let's say I met you guys at a dinner somewhere. Someone introduced us, great. So we have dinner together, we get to speak, we warm up to each other. That's day one. Let's say we meet again, and third or fourth time, we started getting to know each other really well. Like we're getting close.
Yeah.
In my context of work, the way I interact with people is really interesting, especially the homeowners, developers, or the people that are behind these assets.
Yeah.
Or the places that we go. I meet these individuals, or we at least get a brief introduction, but a lot of times they know who I am off the bat. So they get a chance to watch my videos, and they get a chance to they get a feel of who I am prior. So they're already, knowingly or not knowingly, forming an opinion about me. But you know what's so funny and kind of ironic about it? Day one, hour and a half in, I'm wearing a suit and I'm in their bedroom. Meaning there are no borders. I'm right in their personal spot, which poses a really interesting question to them. And it's this unspoken question, which is like, okay, I can be distant and I can treat this as like a business interaction, or this is a guy that I kind of know. He is already in my bedroom. What is there to hide?
Exactly.
And it just lowers their guard. And I think the key for us to really, I don't want to say take advantage of that, but really for us to bring that home and bring this person into our circle and allows us to become friends with them is because myself and my team included, we do not take advantage of that. We don't go. We have the control. We're in your home. Now we're going to take advantage of that vulnerability.
Yeah.
What we go above and beyond is to let people know we're here for you. We want to make sure we tell this story as best as possible. We're here to respect what you have built here, what you have curated here. And I think once people see that, they open up so quickly. And that's why a friend of mine called me and he gave me this really interesting compliment. He goes, how come people talk so highly of you, even though some of the individuals that talked highly of you may have met you one or two times? He goes, this is now fifth or sixth time. Everybody acts like they're your best friend. Like they know you so well. But I know you just met him once or twice. And I had to break it to him. This is why. And because of this kind of interaction and this happening on a volume basis with developers, architects, I get to really see and participate in these individuals' lives. And from there, what an opportunity of a lifetime for someone like myself to go and see how they conduct business, how they treat their staff, how they enjoy their success. And I take a lot of qualities that I immediately implement into my life as a way of doing business or as a way of treating or improving my relationship with other people that I interact with, or there are some qualities that I see in people, I go, I want to be like that. I want to be able to enjoy. I'll give you a very interesting experience. One thing that I admire about wealthy people, not all of them have this quality, but I would meet these individuals that are billionaires, companies with 5, 6, 7, 8,000 employees.
Mm-hmm.
My team is little under 15 people right now. And it's like, I work all the time. I mean, I'm stressed about a bunch of things. And these individuals, they will meet me. They will sit down and have coffee with me at their house. And I swear to God, you'll look at them and be like, they have nothing else to worry about in life. All they care about is sitting right there, enjoying their property, and I'm on the other side. Their sole focus is spending time with me. And I love that. The fact that they built a life where they can be successful, they can be really good at what they do, but at the same time, they can enjoy and appreciate a little moment like that more than I could.
Yeah.
And in some capacity, I should be enjoying it more. So being able to shut that on and off, or being able to still enjoy the littlest things in life is extremely important to me. Yeah. And I've seen this with a couple of the individuals that I interacted with. I'm like, ooh, I love this quality. I want this in my life. Whether it's the soup, I'm eating, whether it's the coffee I'm consuming, whether it's having that 5 minutes within the shoot for me to just sit down at that patio, looking at the coastline of wherever we are, and just forgetting the fact that this whole crazy madness of this workflow is happening around me. I'm just gonna enjoy the view for 5 minutes.
It's funny you say she asked you why everyone likes you, because the first time you was on our show, after we walked you out and came back in the house, we stopped and we were like, we like that guy. That's a good guy. That's a good guy.
That's a good guy.
But speaking of the billionaires, I wanted to ask, like, is there one common trait, a possible commonality that they all share that makes them successful, you think, after spending time with them?
I think so. I think billionaire level success comes from, at some capacity, good risk taking or bold risk taking. Yeah. I'm going to give a really interesting second quality. They all at some point got lucky. And I think we all get lucky in life, but they got lucky in a sense of timing and being at the right place at the right time, where their business had the super boost on top of their given success.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I have few friends that I've become very good and close friends with, and even they would admit, it's like, look, I've been successful, I've been ambitious, I worked hard to build this. And they all have. There's not one billionaire I met that got it easy, no chance. But they also know they were just at the right place at the right time, and what they happened to do just got a 10x boost.
Yeah.
And that's why they're billionaire, because it's one thing to be a millionaire, but when you get to that billion level, I mean, it's not easy. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
I think.
But I think one billionaire got lucky, Trump. He may be the one that got it a little easy.
I'll say this about Trump. So, as you live your life, as you run a business, and as you go through different levels of success and challenges in your life, you get to hear, when you listen to podcasts, when you observe these individuals, I feel like every 6 months, what I get out of these podcasts change dramatically. Yeah. It's like, depending on the season that I'm living, I receive certain information and I go, he gets it. He was right there when I am right now. And then I'll listen to the same podcast 6 months later. I'm like, this flew over me. This guy talking about this subject, this almost killed him. Yeah. But now, on the hindsight, looking back a couple of years down the road, you're explaining to people the difficulties you go through. But when you're in the moment and you're feeling that pain, and when you hear someone else talk about it briefly, you go, you're going through this right now. So I think one of the things that made Trump successful, obviously bold risk taker.
Absolutely.
A little bit of right place in the right time. He was at that perfect timing for New York, a real estate development. Also, Trump is extremely resilient. Think about the amount of lawsuits he's gone through. Think about how much backlash he's gotten being a president for 4 years. He still shows up at the court.
Teflon.
He's still Teflon, well said. He still defends himself. Look at his interviews. Sitting strong. And that's a very much an undervalued quality, resilience. No matter how many hits you get, you go, I'm gonna get back up, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna make progress.
Yeah.
And I now see this as a crucial quality when it comes to becoming successful, especially because that's the only timeline I can relate, especially the time that we're living in right now. Absolutely. You have to be resilient. Yeah. Get used to it and start building a thicker skin.
So, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but based on that, I think we just talking about Trump. What's the biggest loss you've taken in the last 3 years, and how you bounce back?
That's a great question. Let me think about that.
If you can answer it, of course, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there are many. I think one of the biggest challenges that I've gone through is we admit that YouTube is a very big part of what we get to do. Yeah. But in some capacity, more than let's say consumer products or businesses where you get to interact so closely with your clients, with your consumers, betting on the platform can be very challenging. Where we're not getting as many views as we're used to getting prime, like COVID times. A lot of creators are not. I almost want to say 95% probably. You know, you guys are in the space, you all have like content creator friends. Now, we've done a really good job being a better omnipresent company. You know, our Instagram, TikTok, social media front has grown tremendously. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, YouTube is still that thing that we all hold on to, and I think as content creators, we value so much. That's our craft, right? Still to this day, it's been 4.5 years, little under 400 episodes. I'm still so passionate when I hear the right music, montage coming together. It's like, it's the best feeling on earth.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we've taken a very strong bet on wanting to do very specific, curated, and elevated type of content, and we haven't stopped. We keep upping it up. But at the end of the day, I'm very distant from the consumer, and I'm in the hands of YouTube. And trying to build a stable company, trying to not go out there and have the need to sell something just out of funding a media company has been tremendously difficult.
Gotcha.
Because I'm so passionate, whatever I put my name behind, and I'm not talking about an ad or like a little endorsement that we do. I'm talking about me going on camera going, I like this product. Yeah. I really like it and I want you to have it. I've been holding on to this verbiage for so long because whatever product that is, I'm gonna love it. Yeah. And that don't come easy. Yeah. So being able to, building this business and operating on YouTube and growing it at the same time has been very, very challenging. I think it's the hardest thing I've ever went after. And we maintained it. We rode through the storms. I know it's hard for people to probably grasp the fact that we're going through difficult times. You look at my Instagram, I go, I have the coolest job on earth. I do, but there's a big, big, big price tag, mentally, physically, that I get to pay, even though our business is professional, clean, and we mean so well to everybody that we work with. Still, it's very competitive out there, and Absolutely. It eats you alive. Yeah. And that's why I think I keep coming back to the resilience point. Mm-hmm. It's so important. You know, you believe in what you do, you stick to it, and you show up. Yeah. You show up, and you let the world know, I'm going to do this thing. And I mean well, and I'm not afraid of anyone, because I know my intentions, and my intentions are good. I want to do good by people.
I want to thank you, actually, before we move on in the conversation. Couple things. One, and this is a lesson for anybody that you're looking to reach out to somebody, like, people now are very accessible, right? They're very accessible. The reason why we are here today is because of we had a genuine, like, man, these houses and this guy touring these houses is so good. Granted, but it goes back to we were learning. You were giving out value. And I think that's a very important thing. And I'm sure you were like, who are these guys commenting on my stuff all the time? Then we followed each other, but it was a genuine thing. So for anybody listening, I believe you have to actually one, like what the person is doing, but give genuine like love to that person because they feel it. Like if you felt like it was fake, you wouldn't, you know, you would have been like, well, whatever. But it was genuine. And then in turn, for those who don't know, listening, we had a sunglasses company, Shady Side Up. We recently shut it down in January, but Enes was just like, hey, I'll wear these shades. And like, it's been in many episodes and nobody probably even knows, but we know. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that because you didn't have to do that. And that was special. So I appreciate that.
I'm happy to. And it's like, to me, I know how rewarding that was for you guys in the sense that like it makes you feel proud when you see someone enjoying your product, wearing your product, and we really enjoyed it. I mean, Mikey was wearing it, I was wearing it, and in some capacity, I mean, you touched on a very important point. It's like authenticity is so underrated. And like this whole reason, like why I'm here, it's because you guys are very genuine. You guys enjoy what we do, and like we have a great friendship. And for me, that's why I try to pick and choose the things that I'm doing in my life based on like, do I really enjoy it?
Yeah.
Can I go there and really be myself? And if I can do that, that's fantastic. That's a great way to pick and choose in life.
Now we were talking about YouTube. So, you know, some people don't ever get like famous, in quote unquote. Some people get famous one time. You technically have been famous twice because you were a world champion, three-time world champion, windsurfer.
Yep.
So the fame then and the fame now, is there any comparison? What's different? What's the same? How's that look?
That's a great question. So I was a professional windsurfer for 12 years, became world champion 3 times. Hell of a ride. I traveled so many countries, and I think that allowed me to build the foundation that I'm operating on currently. You know, that athlete mentality, being disciplined, focusing on your craft, and spending every single day dedicating on improving yourself. That's literally what I'm doing with my current job. This one is different, and in a sense that it is way more global. Obviously, the scale is way bigger, but on top of that, I'll give you guys an example. It's like over the last 4 years, the way I interact with people and how they come up to me saying they know me or they watch the videos and what kind of things they feel like saying to me constantly evolves. It's interesting. It's like 3 years ago when people see me, they're like, oh, you're that house guy. I watch your videos. You're so detail oriented. It shifts to like, oh man, you guys are touring incredible places. I see the outfits changing, the cinematography getting better. And now I'm in a place, yesterday I was in Beverly Hills and I got recognized 5 or 6 times. I was at a restaurant, I got recognized. I went to a Tom Ford store, I got recognized. I went to 2, 3 other places. And now this time, like when I got recognized, people were like, they changed their direction to come to me and they're like, love the videos. They're so calming. They're so educative, but even more importantly, each one of the videos feel like it's a journey. It's like, you know, put it on a full screen, buckle up, we're going to that destination. They're like the narration, the cinematography is on another level. And even though our views have been going down, I feel like we've actually done a good job really enhancing the viewer experience and really kept evolving, which is a hard thing to do as a creator. It's very taxing. And now I get to really enjoy how people are looking at the videos because I think they've gone to a really sophisticated level. And I think this is the best job we've done so far in regards to looking at a property, reverse engineering its identity, and finding a creative way to reflect that identity through a video making. And that's really episode by episode what we focus on. It's like, as a team, we all look at the property, we go, how are we feeling? What are some of the things that are speaking from these videos? And then we convey that into editing. But it's constantly changing. And I also think and this is really advice for any content creator. Yes, we make videos. Yes, we talk about a given subject for 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is. But I think people need to pay more attention to how you signal yourself, how you carry yourself. Yes, I might be touring a house in France, but the way I pause and talk about the history gives so much about me and who I am and how I carry myself.
Yeah.
The way I'm dressed, the way we shoot things. It's like, yes, our shots are stable. You know what our shots are? They're very focused. You know why? We don't want to waste anybody's time. Yeah. You can frame that opinion based on how we edit. Yeah. You won't see any glitchy shot, because as the whole team watches the video multiple times till there are no problems. I'm sure you guys see so many YouTube creators and all that. I don't blame them. There'll be a little glitch. There'll be missing frame, whatever. Not with us.
Yeah, some of them used to be in ours.
Yeah. Oh, when we first started, oh yeah, we've been on YouTube since 2009. So yeah, it's been, yeah, we had to learn for sure.
And I think that's why within the fame, the way you do your content and the way you carry yourself, it communicates in a unique way. Yeah. And I think that dictates and really forms a relationship with your consumers and your viewers as well. And I'm really liking the current feedback in the sense that I think people see the attention to detail, and that makes me really happy.
I wanted to stick,
real quick before you go there, I just want to give you a little comparison thing. I really believe that God places us in certain things for a reason. So when I was, going through things, the word feng shui popped up, right? And, you deal with a lot of feng shui going in the house.
Yep.
But the deeper meaning of feng shui, like feng means wind and shui is water.
Okay.
And you were a windsurfer.
Yes.
And now you're moving that into this space of real estate and everything. And I just thought that was such a cool correlation. I was like, I don't know if he's ever thought about that, because but that's wind and water. You were a windsurfer. Now you're doing feng shui in the house. I just thought that was cool. You were airbender. Now you're a house bender.
It's so funny now going to some of the locations that I went as a windsurfer for a totally different reason, even more ironically. I won't disclose the name, but one of the big brands that has sponsored me as a professional windsurfer, now I'm working on a deal where we're going to shoot something with them. It's the same international brand. And I'm like, how cool is it, the fact that as a one type of personality, I get to work with this brand. Yeah. And now as a totally different personality and, content creator, I'm getting to work with this brand again on a totally different lane.
That's amazing. Full circle.
Full circle.
So I wanted to go back to the viewer experience, because I know a lot of the times when you tour a house, the owner is granting you this so he can potentially sell it. Yeah. So how do you find the balance between making the video for the common viewer, but also for the viewer that's a potential buyer?
Great question. It's a balance that I fight with every single day. It's challenging. We started this, so let me break it down a little bit so people get a little bit more like almost transparency. I want people to get access to these assets for many reasons. I think they're inspiring, they're super cool. I mean, who doesn't want to know what's behind the door of a $50 million home? Let's face it. I grew up thinking about these places, these yachts. Now I get to see them all the time. Even better, we get to make videos on them to share with the world. Yeah. So I always valued people feeling extremely comfortable with us, feeling like they're part of our family, feeling like I'm their friend who's showing around. Like, come on in. You don't need to explain. You don't feel uncomfortable. Like, you're part of the family. Just come in with us, see the property. But the reality is, no matter how powerful or how strong of a platform we are, we still need these individuals to let us in to showcase. Half of my business is still dependent on the person on the other side. I'm not a vlogger. I don't just go out to the street and make a video. Yeah. I need the asset. So it's really important to, number one, respect that asset, and number two, make sure you provide a ton of value to that person as well. People can be brutal sometimes in the sense of like, oh, he's trying to sell this and this. It's a for sale asset. You get to enjoy it for free on YouTube, and we do all the work. And it's not to say we do all the work and like you should be appreciative, but at least have a little bit of a common understanding that world goes both ways. I wish they were all my home, and I get to show them to you, and I'm like, it's not even for sale. Don't worry about it. See you on the next episode. It's just not realistic. These are people's assets. So I try to focus on honoring the asset and its qualities as much as possible. I don't think I really focus on selling it. In my eyes, I disclose that it's for sale, meaning be aware. You can buy this. This is on the market for this price. But at the same time, each asset has so many different unique qualities and details. And all I do is highlight those details. Make people aware of how you can appreciate this kind of architecture. Because some people look at minimalist, brutalist architecture and they're like, who would call this a home? And some people adore it. You know, who's right, who's wrong? My job is to honor mid-century modern the way it should be, classical home the way it should be, yacht the way it should be. It might be the most extravagant asset in the world. Well, some people like extravagant stuff. Let them appreciate that. Let them enjoy that. It's like Lamborghini is a great brand. So is Ferrari. So is Pagani. So is Koenigsegg. Depending on what you want. All I do is focus on highlighting those qualities. That's why brands and homeowners feel very comfortable with us. It's not just the trust issue. They go, this person is going to take the time, understand the core value of this asset, and convey it in a way that will make us feel proud, and they will make us feel like we've honored what we built.
Yeah, now, after you do some of these tours, obviously they sell. And I remember seeing somewhere where you said people were saying you should get commissioned for it. Yeah. But you were like, if you do good by people, good things will happen to you. So how has that benefited you?
Honestly, it's benefited me greatly. We do not take commission. You know, let me make that loud and clear in the sense that I have no conflict of interest with these assets. So I dropped my real estate license a long time ago. I almost feel like every once in a while, you know, in the videos I have to still mention that, like, guys, I am not a real estate agent. I'm not. We just have a media company and we happen to tour these assets, and I happen to know architecture and how these assets work. In a way, the way I see what we do is going and learning some of the best assets and projects in the world, and improving our palette, networking with individuals who, one way or another, will participate in our next phase of our company. And that's really been the most rewarding part of it. Now, we haven't really fully broke out to go branch out the other directions, which we are working on right now. And I will just say stay tuned for that. Absolutely. But as we build those other branches within our media company, hopefully those individuals will participate in, not because they're wealthy, they're successful. It's because we get to build a really unique, special bond with some of these individuals. I'm not saying all of them. Yeah. Any home you see, I would say I know 80 to 90% of the owners of the assets we tour on a person-to-person basis. Like I probably have their cell phone, so is their email.
Okay.
And to me, we just build this really unique community on the front end with the channel, and on the back end with the business we operate. It's like we were in South Africa for 12 days. We shot 3 homes. We could have shot that in 6 days.
It's one of my favorite views too.
Great property. Iron Man house, the White House, and Stefan's owner of Theoda's home, the Beyond House. We were there for 12 days because the other 6 were focused on meeting the people, spending time understanding the area, hanging out with these individuals that we work with over there. From the in residence, the company that we work with, lovely people. Owner Peter, he has become such a good friend of ours. It's like Philip, the agent that we worked over there, he is a lovely person, and now they are participating in our lives. They're our friends, and we get to make amazing stories. So that I love, and I still believe behind what I say, and I live my life. You do good and let the world come to you. In fact, I had a conversation about this last night with someone. I used to be more ambitious and more, I don't want to say controlling, but I really wanted to know where I'm going and how I'm attracting the things that I want in my life to my direction. Like how I'm, what is the word I'm looking for? Manifesting those things into my life. But what I realized as I grew up is living life with surprises, living life where life brings you these new things is so rewarding, so exciting. And sometimes, as individuals, we're not smart enough to do and pick the best direction for ourselves. Sometimes life needs to slap us on the face and go, hey, I'm gonna ruin this for you, but the sunlight that comes after this is gonna bring you to the right destination. So now, the way I explain it to people is like, I'm on a raft. It's a really well-built raft that is bulletproof, it will never sink. But I know I'm on a river. And the truth is, I'm gonna keep my crew safe, I'm gonna keep my people safe in there, I'm gonna make sure we're all enjoying this ride, but the river is gonna take us wherever it takes us. And I'm totally cool with that. And I look forward to that. Let me rephrase myself. And that's how I live my life.
It's a flow thing, and it's funny you said that about manifesting, and because our whole company now is about frequency, it's called high frequency. It's about raising people's frequency. It's about being, because we believe that blessings live on a certain frequency, and certain frequencies heal people. They make people feel better. You bring people together with certain frequencies, and so I know you deal with a lot of frequencies going in all these different homes, and so has being in a particular home or a particular space, have you felt an energy in any of these houses that you went into, and how have you dealt with that or managed that frequency?
Great question. The people that are behind these homes play a huge role in regards to setting a tone. It's like you can feel people's energy. When the homeowner is laid back, homeowner is there to enjoy their life, you can just feel it. They may have a different style of furniture that you may not like, but you still feel that positive, good energy in there. In regards to where I am in life and what I enjoy, I think life is about balance in the sense that you want to have a counterweight. It's not about you can only work this much and you have to sleep this much. It's like if you're a radical on one side of your life, I think you need to have some sort of a balance on the other end. So I live a very progressive, go, new things, learn something new every single day kind of life. But recently, I've been really enjoying spaces that are more minimalist, and I've been really enjoying minimalism in my life. And even better, I'm really building this mantra of elevating any given moment of your life. And what I mean by that is it goes hand in hand with minimalism, which is if you're gonna do something, do it the best way you can. If you're gonna drink coffee, put it in a nice cup. Spend 20 cents more and get a nice Nespresso pod. Elevate that experience. Make it meaningful. Don't get a cheaper coffee and have 4 cups. Have 2 cups, but have a really good coffee. Or the best you can afford. There's no judgment. If you're gonna buy 3 sweatshirts, maybe buy 1, but buy a good one and maintain it. Get joy out of putting it nicely and folding it and storing it or dry cleaning it and respecting it. Enjoy the other aspect of it, or don't go, I paid $30 each to these shirts. I don't care. I'm gonna throw this away in 9 months. Ties back to minimalism. So I've been really focusing on this, and it's made me really enjoy a lot of things that I do in my life. And it slowly creeps into the creeps into the other aspects of my life too. Now I'm looking at my closet, I'm like, I'm gonna donate 1/3 of this, but the other stuff, I wear it all the time. I get joy out of wearing something multiple times. Not like, okay, I wore this on this episode, doesn't matter. My suits are impeccably cared for. They all go to dry cleaning, sit in a perfect sleeve. After each shoot, they all get clean. And to me, that's why I've been really enjoying minimalist homes. I've been really enjoying homes where you can respect and appreciate the material that goes in. Beautiful board foam concrete walls, hardwood floors with character, wood plank ceiling, where you can just see, smell, and feel the wood. And it's used throughout. Cohesiveness of the home. So that's why I feel like at some point I need to build myself a home just out of I want to see what this converts into the actual life. But minimalism. That's
funny. On that same thing, talking about quality, you said something that me and him, we see eye to eye on 100%. And he already know where I'm going. We are at a point in our lives where it's about quality and comfort.
I love that. Love that.
If it's not quality and comfort, I don't really want it. We not into a bunch of jewelry, bunch of cars. What we like is comfort. And you said something on, I believe it was an interview I was watching. You said you got a chance when you were windsurfing to fly first class, business class, for like 6 years straight almost.
7 years in total with Turkish Airlines, yeah.
Absolutely. That's all I need to say about that. It's absolutely. But it goes back to what you were saying, appreciating just, hey, I get a chance to be in this seat for these hours. It's my quiet space. I want to be comfortable. And that's completely fine. It may not be fine for some people, but that's what I like. Especially on a flight that's about 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. Absolutely. So what you just said, I resonated with, but it's just taking your time. It's almost like meditating with everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you spread that cohesive perspective on everything.
Yeah.
And it's like I get this question there, like, well, if I cannot afford what I want, then be okay with what you have. Yeah. It's like, I have this rule, whatever I'm buying, could be socks, shoes, watch, car, unless I like it 9 out of 10, I don't buy it.
There you go, yeah.
I have to love everything I buy.
I'm the same
and
way.
My option 2, I don't buy it. And it's totally chill. If I cannot find a jacket that I really want, guess what? Who's not gonna have a jacket? This guy. Yeah. And I'm chill with that. I'm gonna put 2 more sweaters, and you're gonna be like, why is it cold? And why this guy doesn't have a jacket? Because he couldn't find.
Because you start thinking about, what do I really need? Like you really start.
It'll end up sitting in your closet.
Yeah, it just sits there.
You know what it all ties to? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So I want to look at the palette around me of the decisions I made, and I want to go, I love all of it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Or if you outgrow it, that's beautiful too. Yeah. Guess what? Sell the item, donate it, whatever it is, and move on. Build up to that. Yeah. You know, what you like today, you may not like it 3 months ago. Yeah. Yeah. But guess what? When you bought it that day, you loved it. That's good enough. Yeah.
So we all know you as the hard worker. We all know that Enes, he's going to get to it. What do you do for self-care? Like, how do you prioritize that?
That's such a good question. I've been pretty much a go for the last 4.5 years. But recently, I've been taking the time. I haven't really publicly spoken about this, but I've gone through quite a bit of health issues. A lot of back pain, a lot of chiropractor appointments, and it really hit the peak when I was in Dubai about 2 months ago, I want to say, where, luckily the things that happened there didn't convey into the videos, but I was in tremendous pain. I was in so much pain the last day, I wasn't sure if I could walk enough to shoot an episode. Like, I was locked up. We had to bring in a doctor, and I looked him in the eye. I'm like, make me walk for the next 10 hours. I don't care what I have to deal with when I go back home. It was my last day. I was like, I don't care what kind of medicine, drug you need to give me. I gotta walk. Yeah. I promised these people that I'm gonna do this tour, and I really wanna do it. I was on 2 hours sleep. I had the worst sciatica pain of my life. My back was thrown. And I think it's accumulation of a lot of things, because I've been go. And we've been very successful. But when we hit a lot of the downturns, it required the grind to be even harder to make up the difference. And that's why, I want to speak out on behalf of a lot of content creators. It's really not an easy job. I empathize with so many content creators, and I'm sure you guys are feeling and seeing this, I don't want to say quitting, but a lot of people are retiring themselves.
Yeah, leaving YouTube, yeah.
I get it. I applaud. Yeah. This is not easy. Feeding an algorithm, constantly keeping it creative, building an infrastructure, and without selling your soul to a product or something, maintaining a social media presence is not an easy task at all. Yeah. So I have so much respect for people who maintain, content creators like you guys is been in the business for 9-10 years. It's really not easy. And I'm pretty sure before and during Dubai, I hit the bottom. So what I've been doing to take care of myself a little bit more, I think number one, first thing I've been paying more attention to is sleeping more. And human body is amazing how much you can push. I mean, there are weeks I've operated on average of 3 hours. Average. I'm talking about like over a 10-day period.
Man.
Like, and I've survived. Like, I was fine. But they all quietly stack up on the back end. Yeah. And then once you're like, okay, I'm sleeping 8 hours. Well, you built all that. And your body is now giving you the invoice. Yeah. You're like, why am I getting these invoices late? Yeah. I'm letting people know, if you're out there like working really hard, there will be a day where that invoice hits your desk. Oh, yeah. You think you're like, if I can work 3 more months and I don't get in trouble, I'll pick it back up. No. One day you get an invoice. So I've certainly gotten the invoice. Yeah. So I'm sleeping more. I want to get into meditation. The second thing that I'm doing, I want to share it with you guys too, which I'm super excited about. I was like, I need a shift in my life. I need to almost set a new goal, something that's radical, that changes my atmosphere. Yeah. In July, I'm running a marathon. I never ran a marathon.
See, this like the second. Yeah. This the second time that somebody that told us it's one more that's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, oh, come on, man. All right, yeah, go ahead, continue.
In July, I'm running a marathon. I never ran a marathon in my life. Never ran anything close to it. And I love running. It's a form of meditation. You get to see places. So I'm like, I'm going to some of the most beautiful locations in the world. I'm like, I wish I have the time where I can just 8 p.m. go running. Yeah. Just feel, I'm sure creatively will influence me so well, but we're always on this go. I got to focus, writing my notes, whatever. So I'm running a marathon in July. My dear friend, Natasha Oshian, she's helping me prepare for it. So I have an amazing coach on the back end. She's monitoring everything I'm doing. And it's been amazing. I've been in it for about 4 weeks now. Yeah. I'm already getting a good pace, and it's helping me tremendously. And I think because running a marathon is such a radical thing, it will retain itself. I doubt I'll do that and be like, adios, I'm never doing this again. So that's one way. And I think the second way is, truth be told, at some point I should have probably scale our operation back to adapt to the time that I was in order to maintain a healthy workload and healthy environment around me. Yeah. The problem is I'm not a quitter. And the problem is probably the worst pain I go through is when I let people down around me that care about me and care about what we do. And in order to not let them down while operating a very challenging business, I said, you know what? I'll throw myself under the bus. It's all good. 100 hours, 110 hours, 120 hours. And I've never really done videos to glorify this. Not in the sense that I'm not proud of how much I work, but also I didn't want it to come across as like he's bragging about how much he's working. But the truth is, the last 2 years have been very, very difficult. And the way I settled with how to pay that invoice was, I'm gonna make up the difference. And I certainly have. And our team too, they all work hard, go above and beyond. It really is a team influence. It's like you hear Elon Musk talk about, I slept at a factory for 2 years. It's not because he didn't have the money to rent himself a nice place. The company needed that kind of love, that kind of care at that given moment. And he had to show to his employees the length, the distance he was willing to go for this to work. And that was all the way to him sleeping on a floor underneath a conference desk. So every morning when the employees rolled in, they go, that's our founder and CEO. That's what he's willing to do for this to work. Then you get to ask yourself, what am I willing to do? And I bet you it influences you in a positive way. So our company needed that the last 2 years. And I did it proudly. I did it with joy. Did I have to pay some bills? And I'm not talking about monetary aspect, where like it took a damage to my health, to my personal relationships. I mean, I have friends in Beverly Hills. They're like, you are 20 minutes from us. We've invited you to 20 dinners. Yeah. No one knows where you are. I'm at the office. So that's a little bit of an inside look to you guys.
I'm glad you said that. I was about to ask how's your family and personal relationships been shifted in this 2-3 year block, and how have you been dealing with that? Because that could be tough. We deal with that a lot, trying to figure out like what's that balance, like what is that, like what's that thing, lock yourself in your room and grind the gears. Like how have you kind of dealt with that, or are you still figuring it out?
I think I'm doing a better job now than 2 years ago. I was also at a place where I could afford it, meaning like my close friends and allies, they knew the period that I was going through, and they respected it. Again, intention goes long ways. When they know who you are and what you mean, people will work with you, people will respect you, and people will give you a second, third, fourth chance. It's not that I disappointed people, but I think I could have been around them a little bit more. That's number one. Number two, and I say this, I think it's the biggest accomplishment of my life so far, is I've immigrated my parents to the United States about 7 months ago.
Congrats.
So I brought them here, I retired them.
Amazing.
So they don't have to work. And it's been incredibly rewarding. It's been in the works for the last 5-6 years. I just wanted to wait for the right things. First, I got my green card, then I became a US citizen. So I granted them, or I gave them the green cards. And it's been honestly very rewarding. For sure the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And seeing them enjoying LA, ironically enough, I feel like I don't get to enjoy LA as much as I should, just because it's an incredible city. Comes with a bunch of taxes and issues. Let's not get into that. But you go outside and
sunshine,
it's sunshine and palm trees and beautiful houses and homes and creative people, and it's like every corner packs a goddamn story in the best way possible. It's like it's character overload left and right. It's like they're with me. They're actually staying with me because I wanted them to settle into the system first. And my parents don't speak English that well.
Yeah.
And you guys know, LA is not the easiest place to like settle in.
We don't speak English that well.
I'm right there with you. I stumble too all the time.
It's funny you say you haven't been to your friend's dinner, because I know you haven't missed your mom's dinner, because we all love our moms.
Oh,
yeah.
You gotta go to mom's house.
Well, because they're with me, that actually gives me a chance to spend a lot of time by default. And that's been really rewarding, and seeing them acclimate into the space. So on the family side, because of the new setup, I've been getting an opportunity to spend time with them. But it's also hard on them too, because they see their son, I'm the only child, how hard I work. And it's like, maybe this is a little TMI, too much information, but it's like, my dad is like, oh wow, he's like, I've been out of your life in a way for the last 17 years. He's like, I know how much you work. Like, you've been like this as far as I can remember. But seeing it at a person at a level of dedication and commitment you're doing it, he goes, it hurts me a little bit, because it's like, your friends, your network is like the places you get invited to, but a Saturday you're here, Sunday you're here. By the office desk, he goes, I wake up, you're at the desk. I go to sleep, you're at the desk. So that's been a little bit difficult on them, but again, it's the season I'm going through. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm so appreciative with what I have and the people I get to work with. I really don't see it as a big price to pay, but it can be taxing here and there.
Absolutely.
So I have two last questions if you don't have any. I've been waiting for this, because one is fun, one is interesting. Yeah. So you have a big goal that you said. And when you said it, I mean, like, he's going to do that. And it's going to be fire when he does it.
Yeah.
You want to tour the White House.
Correct.
Where did that come from? And how do you think you're going to get there?
Great question. I've been thinking about this ever since we talked to him. It has not left my mind. I came to this country when I was 17 years old, 2007. Back then, couldn't speak a word of English. Even though I traveled prior to coming to US, I was still pretty much in my own cocoon, a kid that's coming back from home. And I lived a very interesting life. And through the things I've gone through, my appreciation for this country, what it has provided me and what it has allowed me to do, I'm so grateful. It is truly, even with the current times we're going through with taxes and issues that this country is going through, it still is, in my opinion, the greatest country on earth. It is filled with possibilities, opportunities, and it has this spirit of you go get it. And what I love about US in general as a whole is when you have good intentions, when you're out there and you mean well for the people and you work hard, everybody is ready to help you. It is this unspoken collaborative energy that I just love. And that's why one after another, this country still in the times that we're in creates winners after winners, incredible brands, and we go and change the world. And I love that. So living, all these feelings have been compounding in my system and my body all these years. And I'm like, I do feel like I'm living that American dream. I do feel like, look what it has enabled me to do. In the last 4 years, we've created the biggest marketplace and media company on earth that showcases some of the most exclusive assets at a level that traditional media has never gotten access to. We're not $20 million yachts, $50 million homes anymore. We are one by one, personally building relationships and opening doors of assets that the world has never seen. Today, literally, I was in Malibu. I won't give the address or the location. This gentleman, who's a very successful agent, brought me to 2 properties that part of his family own. And I was jaw dropped. This comes after seeing a couple thousand homes. I don't want to deviate too much from the White House story. Yeah. And 4 years later, living in LA, I was like, I've never seen anything like it. I was blown away with both of the properties. And it has enabled me and people around me to do so much. So I love this country. And I think it would be a very monumental thing for us to go to White House with the president at the time.
That'd be amazing.
Put a nice suit on and go, you know what? I'm an immigrant and I became a US citizen and I'm proud of every single aspect of it, and let's go toward this place. And I think the president at the time will also appreciate, because immigrants are such backbone of this country as well. And I just think it will create a beautiful story. And in some capacity, I'm working on it. And in some capacity, I'm waiting for the universe to give me that little star to go, it is the time now. Because, as creators, we have this intuition and we work on things, but then you see the green light, you go, this is my time. Yeah. So I'm waiting for that moment. And I'm pretty confident that, not in the sense of like, we'll make it happen, it will work out. And we'll tour the White House. And I look forward to that day.
I can't wait.
And I can't wait to speak few words after that tour about how I feel and why we did it.
Yeah. So my last question. So 3 years ago, you said just because you're in a good place in life, that doesn't mean that's how much you can grow. So where you was giving an example how you gave up windsurfing at your pinnacle. You had everything. And people was like, why are you doing this? But you thought you could do more in life, and you did. So now you're at the pinnacle of real estate and house tours. Do you ever think about giving it up and doing something else?
It goes back to the river and the raft analogy. I'm open to wherever it takes me. And I think through the media company and through the people we met, we will be doing other stuff. I just don't want to name it or label it right now. But I'm excited. At the end of the day, we're all creators. We create things. We manifest ideas, and we go get them, and we make things happen. So I will be doing other things. And what I really learned the last few years also is there are many ways to accomplish things. And one way is not necessarily better than the other. They all go through a different route. So I've been really keeping an open mind in regards to what I may pursue next. And it's not undecisiveness. It's like a feel, and also at a level or at a place that I'm in right now, it's not even just being able to make it. I can launch a clothing line today and then sell it and be successful.
Yeah.
Is that really something that inspires me or pushes me at an exact point that I want? Yeah. Or should I go do something in the home goods space where I'm curating products for people to be able to place it in their home and help them elevate a given moment in their life? Well, that sounds a little bit more meaningful. That sounds a little bit more up to my heart right now. So I'm going to go pursue that. Both are great ideas. But one pulls you to a direction that you see yourself down the road more. So I'm going to go to that direction. But within that direction, if I shift a little bit, I'm okay with that too. I think life's beautiful. And I think as humans, we're not necessarily as smart as we think. Sometimes we need God, the universe, whatever you believe in, to give us a little bit of a cue, a clue, a slap, or a person in our lives that comes in and changes the course of our entire lives. Be open to that, receive it, embrace it, and enjoy and appreciate life.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Enes. I mean, you're great, man. We love you. We're gonna keep on having you. We're like next time we'll be in a big house. It will be another 3 years. The house will be bigger.
Now that we're on this note, I want to take the mic in a sense, talk about on you guys' behalf. Number one, we got to have you guys at one of our shoots. It could also be a travel where like it doesn't have to be a yacht. Maybe it can be a home, like one of our experience videos. And it's been amazing being you guys part of your lives as well. And it's a special thing that you get to participate in someone's life and see what they go through. But it's been amazing knowing you guys. Thank you for, like, every time I hang out with you guys, it's like I'm with part of people that I've been knowing for years. It's like it feels that way. And I hope that you guys come into one of our trips will also spark some new, refreshing light into you guys' lives as well. And thank you for having me.
And you know why we'll be there? Because it'll be comfort. It will be very
Love it.